it's crazy how implementing more raw foods into your diet can absolutely change your life. Look, I'm coming off of 30 days of 100% raw. Nothing but fruits, leafy greens, nuts, and seeds. And let me tell you, I feel absolutely amazing. So I wanted to share my journey with all of you. All right. Now, for those who followed me, who watch my channel, who subscribe to my channel, know that I'm about 90 to 95% raw with an occasional cooked meal here and there. Right. So going 30 days raw is not the norm, right? I usually do have a cooked meal here and there, and I'm still working on my journey. But when I tell you, like, going through these 30 days just is so eye-opening to me of how much better my body feels, even though I am majority raw, right? So it just lets me know that I have growth. You know what I mean? I'm still on my journey, just like we're all on our own journey in a myriad of different ways. Right. But for me, like, just the reasoning behind doing this 30-day was first my wife. So my wife has been transitioning as well. And she just came up with the idea the other day and said, hey, let's just go 30 days. Let's just do it. You know, we'll challenge each other. And, you know, it's great to be with somebody who's actually, you know, believes in what you preach and follows your philosophies and whatnot. And her, you know, she's a Scorpio Sagittarius cusper. So she attacks things a little bit differently than I do as a Libra. I'm just a little more balanced. So she goes all in and she goes 100%. And like, there's no knocking her off course, or there's no, you know, getting her out of the lane that she's specifically in. So it's a different approach than I take. But it's motivating to me because, like, I love how dedicated she can be. So when she hit me with that 30 days, let's do it, it's like, okay, let's do it. And I knew she wouldn't waver. So I knew I couldn't waver, right? But anyways, as far as like what I went through, it's everything I talk about, right? Adding the additional hydration to your diet just does so many different things. Number one, if we're talking about elimination, which is so vital to health, elimination being your bowel movements, getting rid of digestive waste, your lymphatic system, getting rid of cellular waste, and, you know, just your body in general, getting rid of the toxicity and acids that it has. And when you are 100% raw, your body has all this extra energy and doesn't have as much burden to stop it from those eliminating factors, right? Anytime you eat cooked, you know, even if it's 1 or 2 times or however many times, like, it adds a pretty heavy burden to your body that your body has to compensate for. And not to mention the foods that you're eating are dehydrating in themselves because they're not bringing in as much water as it takes to release them, right? That goes back to that energy efficiency, right? If the food that you're eating only provides you, let's say, I'm just going to use basic numbers here, you know, 2% water, and it takes 10% water to eliminate it. Well, guess what? We're in a deficit here. So that's one of the things I noticed just going through these 30 days is like my bowel movements were a lot more consistent and they were a lot more successful. You know what I'm saying? Like, every bowel movement isn't treated equally. So I noticed that. That's one of the first things. And just from an elimination standpoint, I just felt like I was eliminating in a much more consistent manner, both through my pee as well as my bowel movements. It's not to say that those were bad, but I could see definite improvement. And I just felt better. I felt like I had more energy. There wasn't those moments, where you eat and, you just crash a little bit. There was no crashing. It was just a consistent, and I felt like the energy within my body was compounding and building and building. And what I do notice is, like, being 90 to 95% raw, what happens is, like, I do great. I feel great. I've healed so many things, and I've just feel better. But I'll eat a cooked meal, and then for that next day, there's some recovery every time. Right? Or, my bowel movement gets kicked off just a little bit, kicked off a kilter. So it's not as consistent. So I have to come back. It's like I'm running hurdles and I hit a hurdle. You know what I'm saying? And I have to catch back up with everybody else. But during these 30 days, that was not the case. And I felt that energetic momentum build and build and build. And it just felt absolutely amazing. And for anybody out there who would do a 30-day raw challenge, like it's very important to be aware of these different things and what's actually happening to your body. Because for someone like me who probably eats better, it's not to judge, but just say in this particular vein, probably better than 90 to 95% of the population, I still saw growth just by eliminating those 1 to 2 cooked meals a week. So that to me was just extremely eye-opening. And, it's beautiful to apply these things and actually see how they come to fruition. So for anybody out there who's on their transition, just continue at it, right? You're going to see continued growth over and over and over. Now, the next piece was weight. I lost some more weight doing it. I lost another 5 pounds. Now, it wasn't a calorie intake loss. I didn't change my exercise habits. I didn't change any of my other habits besides my eating habits as far as what I was eating, but the calorie intake was still the same. But I still lost 5 pounds. And the reason being is that when you eat these cooked foods, your body has to compensate for that dehydration and those additional acids and those additional burdens, and it's going to hold more water in. So I was still holding water, right? Plus, when your bowel movements are more consistent and you're eliminating more consistently and more rapidly, well, you're losing a lot more fluids out of your body. And that's what happened to me as well. So, I lost about 5 pounds in that 30 days as well, which, for anybody out there who's looking to lose weight, that's, a big part of it as well. I talk about that all the time. Lose weight naturally, not by eliminating calories, but by adding the right foods to your diet, and watch how your body utilizes that nutrition and starts getting you on the path to the best physical version of yourself. And it's super enlightening. Like, it's what I went through when I first started going on this journey and lost, 30 pounds in about 1 to 2 years. And it happened quite quickly, actually. It wasn't something that happened, over that 2 years. It was just to maintain it was about 2 years. But I lost the initial weight very, very quickly because my body was holding on to so much water. I was suffering from what 90 to 95% of the people out there suffer from, and that's edema. Your body holds so much water because it is so high dehydrated, right? Because it don't know where else it's going to get from. It has to hold it. It feels like it has to hold it. So, that's another benefit of doing the 30 days raw is I lost a little bit of weight, and I felt my body healing at a more rapid rate. There's a few things that I'm working on with my body as far as from a healing perspective. One of them is my eyes. That's another aspect of healing. Like, we've just been conditioned to think that, we got bad eyesight because of genetics and there's nothing really we can do. So we got to slap on some glasses and ride the wave until, we run out of prescriptions to get. But it's not the case. Our eyes are no different than the rest of our body. It's all tissue, right? And when we have tissue that's been damaged and we have tissue that's, clogged by overacidic elements, we start cleaning up the diet, and guess what? Our vision can get better. So that's one thing I'm working on, and I did notice it get better, right? So pretty cool. Yeah. So anyways, I would say what this taught me the most, and what I'll share with all of you, is how grace on this transition is extremely important. Like, give yourself grace. I don't care where you're starting from. If you are, 90% cooked and you're just starting to implement some fruits and some leafy greens, some hydrating foods into your diet, give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up. Everybody's transition time is going to be different. If you find yourself slipping up, don't beat yourself down. Just, understand that it's all about moving forward and staying with that energy. So if you have a bad day, well, just have 2 or 3 great days after it. You know what I'm saying? Don't quit. Don't give up just because, you have a couple bad moments. Understand this, that it happens to everybody. Everybody. I don't care who it is. It happens to everybody because we have been addicted and conditioned to look at food in a certain way for so long, guys. So long. So give yourself grace. All of them. I know you listen to me and everybody else out there. I'm telling you, give yourself grace because they've all went through it or they're all currently going through it. Because cooked food is an absolute addiction. It's an addiction. That's why going through this 30 days let me and my wife know that, you know what? Like, we can beat this addiction of cooked food. We can do it without having 1 to 2 meals a week, right? Now, we understand that it's going to take time to get to that point, but everybody starts somewhere. So for you out there, like, listen, just take those incremental steps to get yourself where you need to be. Because I'm telling you, once you start implementing that much more raw food into your diet, I'm telling you, it is going to be an absolute life changer on every element. Obviously the physical, we talk about that all the time, but the mental and from a spiritual standpoint, I'm telling you, it all goes together. Mind, body, spirit, mind, body, soul, however you want to call it. Because mentally, like, you're breaking through something that has been embedded so strong by design. And if you can conquer that, you can conquer anything. Because you tell me, think about this. Tell me one thing you do more than eating. One thing. The only thing I can think of is breathing and sleeping, right? Breathing and sleeping. But eating is a choice. Breathing and sleeping really isn't. That's the autonomic. You know what I mean? That's happening. But eating is a choice, and it's a conscious choice. And if you can get to a point where you can control what you're eating, you can control those choices and make that conscious choice of, is what I'm eating for the betterment of me or the detriment of me? If you start winning that battle more often than not, your whole life is going to change. Mentally, physically, spiritually, guaranteed. And when I say spiritually, like, we all want to be the best version of ourselves. Well, there is a version of ourselves. There is a best version of ourselves out there that is almost like a coach to us. It's pulling us. It's trying to get us there, right? Our higher self. It's trying to get us to that point where we are absolutely operating at the best we can possibly be. We're looking the best we can possibly be. We're thinking the best we can possibly think. And that's where that aspect comes into play. That's where tactics like meditation, which meditation played a huge role in these 30 days for me. Huge role. To be able to, like, know every day of what I'm going to do and what my plan is. So what I would do is I'd wake up, I would drink some water, and then I would go do my workout for the morning, and then I would meditate. All that in repetition every single day. And what that helped me do was get my mind right, get my mind ready for what was about to come, what was about to happen for that day. And I attacked it like that. I knew, like, when you can set and put in place, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the entire day. This is what I'm going to eat for the entire day. Like, it changes everything because you're in control of the situation. And that was a real big part of it for me. So, anybody out there who's looking to transition or who's on the transition or who even wants to do a 30 days of raw, make sure you have the mindful practices in place as well. Because remember, everything out there is attacking you. Everything is against you. You walk outside, it's against you. You turn on the TV, it's against you. You look at your phone, it's against you. It's showing you what you should not be doing. The hamburger from Carl's Jr., the French fries from Chick-fil-A, whatever the case may be. All right? Cook this, cook that. Everything is cooked. Cooking shows, right? I mean, that's all you see. That's all you see. And those things are not for the betterment of you. They're for the detriment of you. The next aspect, but on top of the mindfulness, is the planning. Like, I had it planned out every day what I was going to eat for the entire 30 days. And that made it so much easier. And that makes it so much easier in my everyday life. I mean, that's usually how I operate anyway. But to do it for 30 days of 100% raw, it took a little bit extra effort, because that addiction does start to kick in. It doesn't matter if you're 95% or if you're 10%. Now, the addiction is going to be stronger for those who are early in their transition because a few different reasons. Number one, the over acidity within your body creates the addiction. Bad wants bad, right? And your body goes to what it's familiar with. And those acidic elements as well inside you, like I said, attracts what's out there, as within, so without. So the more raw you implement, the more your body's going to want that. So those addictions do go down, but they still exist as long as you're still eating cooked. And those addictions I had to deal with as well. And that's kind of part of my transition is dealing with the addictions that, I made a video about it. That is the number one, that is the hardest thing about transitioning to becoming a 100% raw vegan is dealing with the cooked food addiction. And we're talking about, for me, 40 years of eating cooked food. 40 years. So that's a part of the transition, but that's once again where the grace comes in place. You got to give yourself grace. Definitely have to do it. And the next thing I would do for all of you, look in your transition, it doesn't matter if you do 30 days, don't matter if you do 1 day, is journal how you feel. Journal. I mean, it doesn't have to, and when I say journal, it doesn't have to be, getting a book and writing it in a book. It could be your journal on your phone. It could be your notes on your phone. It could be doing videos like I'm doing. But making yourself aware and recording how you feel throughout the entire process. Okay? Because you're going to notice things about your body that you've never noticed before. Because when you eat majority cooked foods and meats and processed foods and all those different things that we talk about all the time, it's hard to be aware. Number one, mentally, you're not where you need to be. But also, you can't really decipher what's causing what because the majority of what you're eating is disease forming. You can't tell what's causing the cold. You can't tell what's causing the sore throat. You can't tell what's causing the aches and the pains or the drowsiness or the lack of energy. You can't tell any of that because you're just filling your body with such acid forming foods at such a rapid rate that there's really no time to decipher what's what. But as you go through this transition and start adding more hydrating foods, more alkaline-based foods, more raw foods to your diet, it's easier to start deciphering, okay, what's making me feel this way, what's making me not. And then as you're through that transition of the sometimes eating raw, sometimes eating cooked, you're going to be able to tell how you feel afterwards. And that journaling is uber important. So if you do like a 7-day or you're on this transition, you could look back at that journal, whether it be on paper, on your phone, or, recorded video, and be like, okay, I noticed some things. I notice I feel better when I eat this. I notice I was drowsy when I ate that. I notice I had a really bad bowel movement after I ate this. I notice I didn't have a bowel movement after I ate this. So those types of things are so important. And that's why I always journal when I do a 30 days. I journal my weight. I journal what I ate. I journal how I felt. And those things, just help you along this journey because nothing is a better reward than seeing your applied actions come to a positive fruition. You know what I'm saying? To a positive result. Because that's better than any research you're going to do. That's better than any video you're going to watch. Because you could hear me talk about it all day. And believe me, I appreciate when you do. But the best answer, the most substantial type of testimony is going to be your own personal testimony. And we're all different. Like physiologically, we're all the same, but we're all starting from different places because we all have different dispositions. So what I go through in my 30-day raw may be completely different than what you go through. And that's okay. But it's about understanding the body in general, which will help guide us to where we ultimately need to be. If you do it and, you find yourself having a bunch of chronic headaches, or you do it and, you end up having a really bad fever or something like that, that's just your body's way of detoxing, right? Based on what it needs in this moment. And that might be different than what I went through. In this 30 days, I did not go through a massive detox event. I've gone through my massive detox events already. Not saying there isn't more coming, because look, we're all healing from something. But everybody's starting in different places. So don't be deterred by something like that. You're doing the right thing. It's your body's reaction. And I will be doing a video on how people they look at detoxing in the wrong vein, in the completely wrong way. So just understand that, like, this whole process of transitioning to raw, adding more hydrating foods, adding more fruits and leafy greens is going to manifest into something because you're cleaning yourself out, right? So make sure you journal, extremely important, so you can see the benefits, you can see the steps. And I tell people all the time, don't focus on the result. You may jump into this and say, you know what, look, I'm looking to lose weight. I want to lose 20 pounds. Don't focus on the 20 pounds, focus on the journey. You suffering from hypothyroidism, right? Or you're suffering from lupus, or you're suffering from some other diagnosis you got from the doctor and you want to heal it. Don't focus on being healed. Focus on the journey to get there and notice it and appreciate it, because that journey that you're going through is going to manifest into bigger healing in the bigger macrocosm of this entire thing. Because while you're dealing with that one ailment or that one issue, there's a million other issues that we've all built within our bodies that we don't even know about yet. And that takes me to my last point, is that this is not just a diet. It's not about a diet. We get so fixated on the word diet, the idea of diet. This is a lifestyle. Because when you start to, first of all, if you're even interested in this and you're starting to get interested in this, you're very conscious of the world, of nature, or else you probably wouldn't even you probably wouldn't pay it any mind. You'd still be stuck in that survival consciousness, following society, groupthink, hive mind type of consciousness and whatnot. But since you're here, since you are actively looking to better yourself in a very conscious manner, that tells me that, you're open to understanding that this isn't just about what I put in my mouth. This is about a lifestyle. This is about looking at the world and life in a completely different way. When I talk about my EAT philosophy, that's where the T comes into place, the toxicity, because toxicity isn't just about what you consume as far as physically, eating. It's also about the atmosphere you're in. It's about your environment. It's about the amount of electricity. It's about the air that you're breathing. It's about the household cleaners that you use or don't use, the soap that you're putting on your body, the water that you're drinking. All of it matters. But also how you take care of yourself from a spiritual and a mental standpoint. All of it matters, and it all goes together. How much sunshine you're getting. Are you putting sunscreen on every time you go outside? Are you putting sunglasses on every time you go outside? Do you understand the natural balance of the world? Do you understand our symbiotic relationship with nature? So when we're talking about transitioning, in my 30-day transition, I shouldn't say transition, but 30 days of raw, all of that is encompassed in it. All of it. Make sure you plan your meals, because it's extremely important. Don't let the addiction take over. Don't let the addiction control the situation. You control the situation by, going to the grocery store, getting the foods that you need, knowing what you're going to eat at what time, and going that route, understanding that, journaling so you know how you feel, so you can really see the rewards, the gains of adding more hydrating raw foods to your diet, and enjoying the journey. It's a beautiful thing. So if you are, look, if you're interested in that, if that's something that you're looking to do to transition, I do have an ebook, right? The link is in the description. The ebook itself talks about my philosophies. It's 60 plus pages long, but mainly has an 8-week transition plan in it that has a grocery list, calorie intake, all the information you need to get started on transitioning. And the best part about it, it is donation based. You pay what you feel, right? Whatever you feel led and guided to. So there's no actual price on it. So click the link and in the description and check that out if you are interested. But for everybody out there, look, this is where it's at. To get healthy, if you want to be healthy, if you want to be the best version of yourself, you got to start transitioning to a more raw-based diet, to a more fruit-based diet. Hydrating, living, electrical foods that cause the least amount of burden on your body. Less burden means your body has enough built-up energy, enough vitality to ultimately keep you alive, to help you survive, to keep you in balance, to make you feel better, to relieve you of some of that stress that you're going through, to heal a lot of the weakened tissue that we all unfortunately have through decades of bad eating habits and generations of bad eating habits from our ancestors, right? Ultimately, if we all start doing this, we all start transitioning to a more raw-based diet, guess what? The future of humanity is going to be better. It is. We have been cursed generationally with bad tissue, bad set, like just different ailments that they like to call genetics. But the beauty of it is we can regenerate it. We can flip it. We can turn it around. And this is where it starts. All right. So look, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to hit me up in the comment section, or you can always reach out to me on all the socials at RL Melpica, and or you can email me rlmelpica@theeatcoach.com. You can go to my website, theeatcoach.com, and make sure you check out that ebook. If this resonated with you, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And subscribe to the channel, right? So I got plenty of videos on there you can check out. You can check out my playlist on understanding natural health and diet. I got another playlist on like different transitional tips and recipes. And I also got a playlist on my transition to raw. I also do a podcast with my right-hand man, Mr. Keith Crowder, who talks a lot about the fitness aspect, the natural fitness aspect of health too. So we talk about a bunch of topics on there. We got I think we got six podcasts on there. So check that out. But otherwise, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, love, and light, everybody.